إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم شر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Verily all praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and may his peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I bear witness that there is no true deity worthy of worship except Allah, and I bear witness that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was his final messenger. Dear brothers and sisters, Prophet sallallahu once was visiting the cemetery, the graves of the Muslims, of the companions who have passed away, and he was with a group of his companions visiting the cemetery. And after making dua for those deceased Muslims, he said, I wish I could have met my brothers. The companions asked, aren't we your brothers, O Prophet of Allah? Prophet ﷺ said, no, you are my companions. My brothers are those who come after me. They have not seen me, yet they believe in me. That is me and you. That is us, brothers and sisters. The love of the Prophet ﷺ for his ummah. The Prophet ﷺ has so much love and compassion for his ummah. And believing in the Prophet ﷺ without seeing him, such as we all do, there's much more reward than glad tiding in that. Prophet ﷺ said, glad tiding once for those who see, for the one who sees me and believes in me, and glad tiding 7 times for the one who did not see me yet he believes in me. And the Prophet ﷺ said, those who love me most from among my ummah are people who come after me. One of them wishes that he is able to see me, even if he sacrifices his entire wealth and family. A person is willing to sacrifice, to give up all his wealth and family just to see the Prophet ﷺ, just to get a glimpse of the Prophet ﷺ. That's how much love a believer would have for the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet ﷺ had so much love and compassion. He was concerned for his ummah. Once the Prophet ﷺ was reciting Quran, and he came across a verse in which Isa alayhi salam, which mentions the statement of Isa alayhi salam, says, oh Allah, if you punish them, then they are your servants. Meaning you're not doing so, you're not doing injustice to them. You're punishing them because they deserve it. It is by your justice. And if you forgive them, then indeed you are Al-Aziz Al-Hakim. And if you forgive them, it is by Allah's mercy that He would forgive us or any of His servants. So when the Prophet ﷺ came across that verse, he raised his hands up to the sky and he said, oh Allah, my ummah, my ummah. And he started crying. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows, even though He knows everything, yet He said Jibreel, go see the reason why the Prophet ﷺ is crying. And come back and tell me. Jibreel goes and comes back and tells Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala why the Prophet ﷺ was crying. And Allah says to Jibreel, go tell Muhammad, O Muhammad, indeed we shall please you regarding your ummah and you shall not be upset. So much was the concern for the Prophet ﷺ, of the Prophet ﷺ for his ummah, for us. Not just his companions, but even those who come after him and believe in him and follow his message and follow his sunnah. As Prophet ﷺ tells us that on the Day of Judgment, he will come and prostrate underneath the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he will praise Allah as Allah deserves to be praised. And then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the Prophet ﷺ, "O Muhammad, raise your head up, ask and you shall be given, intercede and you shall be given permission to intercede." So the first words the Prophet ﷺ says when he lifts his head from prostration, he says, "Oh my Lord, my ummah, my ummah, ummati, ummati, my ummah, my ummah." He didn't ask for something for himself. He didn't ask to get the highest level in Jannah himself, but rather the first words that he said were, "My ummah, my ummah." He was concerned for his ummah and for their well-being. Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her and with all the companions and with all the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, she narrates an incident. She said, after I've seen the Prophet ﷺ and how good of a person he is, I asked him to make dua for me. And so the Prophet ﷺ said, "Oh Allah, forgive Aisha's sins, the previous ones and the forthcoming ones, the public ones and the private ones." So Aisha started laughing because she was happy because of this dua that the Prophet made for her. She started laughing so much, she's narrating this incident. She said that my head fell into the lap of the Prophet ﷺ because of how much she laughed. In today's terminology, rolling on the floor laughing is the term. So that's how much she was happy because of the dua of the Prophet ﷺ for her. And why wouldn't she be? Such a beautiful dua from the best of people, from the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Oh Aisha, do you like this dua that I made for you?" And she said, "Yes, why wouldn't I like it? Of course." And the Prophet ﷺ said, "By Allah, this is the dua that I make for my ummah in every prayer." Every prayer the Prophet ﷺ makes this dua for all of his ummah. Every single prayer. How often do we remember the Prophet ﷺ in our dua, in our prayers? The love of the Prophet ﷺ, as the Prophet ﷺ said, "None of you believe until I am more beloved to you than a person does not believe until I am more beloved to him than his parents and his children and all of the people." A person does not perfect and complete his iman, his faith, until he loves the Prophet ﷺ more than anyone else, including his own self. Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, once went to the Prophet ﷺ and he told him, "By Allah, I love you more than everyone else, except for myself." The Prophet ﷺ said, "No, by Allah, until I am more beloved to you than your own self." Then Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, with all the companions, he said, "Now, O Prophet of Allah, indeed you are more beloved to me than my own self." The Prophet ﷺ said, "Now, O Umar, now." The person does not perfect his belief until the Prophet ﷺ and his sunnah are given priority to his own desires and to his own self. Once at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there was a man who used to drink alcohol sometimes. And he was brought to the Prophet ﷺ several times, on several occasions, having drank alcohol, and he was punished. He was, the Prophet ﷺ ordered that he's taken and whipped as a punishment for drinking alcohol. And once he was brought, after drinking alcohol, he was brought to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ commanded that he's taken and whipped as a punishment for drinking alcohol. And so one of the companions, he said, "Oh Allah," he made dua against that man. He said, "Oh Allah, curse him, for how often is he brought here? How often does he drink alcohol and he's brought and punished for it, and then he falls again into that same sin, the same major sin of drinking alcohol, and he goes back to doing so." When the Prophet ﷺ heard that, he said, "Do not curse him, for indeed he loves Allah and His Prophet. So you see the love, having the love of Allah and love for His Messenger ﷺ, and a Muslim's heart, even though he might fall into sins, yet he's still a Muslim. He's still having that love still is important, has significance. That is much more important than anything else. Having that sincere and true love for the Prophet ﷺ and for Allah. Once, Anas, may Allah be pleased with him, the companion, narrates that once he was leaving the masjid with the Prophet ﷺ, and at the door they ran into a man. The man asked the Prophet, he said, "O Prophet, when is the hour? When is the day of judgment?" He wants to know. That is a question that every single one of us should ask himself every day. When is the day of judgment? We do not know. But what did the Prophet ﷺ say? He said, "What have you prepared for it?" The man asked, "When is the day of judgment?" The Prophet ﷺ said, "What have you prepared for it?" And that is the question we should ask ourselves every single day. What have we prepared for the day of judgment? Remember the day of judgment and ask yourself, what have you prepared for it? The man, when the Prophet asked him, "What have you prepared for it?" he stood there for a minute and then he said, "I have not prepared a lot of voluntary fasts and prayer and charity, but I love Allah and His Messenger." So the Prophet ﷺ told him, "Indeed, you shall be with those whom you love." Anas said, the narrator of that incident, the companion that's narrating that incident, he said, we weren't, meaning the companions, we weren't happy with anything else than the statement of the Prophet ﷺ saying that you're going to be with those whom you love. Anas says, after relating that hadith, he comments and says, "I love the Prophet of Allah ﷺ, and I love Abu Bakr, and I love Umar, and I hope to be with them on the day of judgment, even though my deeds are not like their deeds. I don't have as much good deeds as they do." Okay, brothers, can you please move forward? And Abu Dhar, the companion, may Allah be pleased with him, he came to the Prophet ﷺ and he told him, what about a person who loves a group of people, yet he's not able to perform the deeds that they do? And the Prophet ﷺ told him, "Abu Dhar, you are with those whom you love." And so Abu Dhar asked again, Abu Dhar said, after the Prophet ﷺ told him, "Abu Dhar, you shall be with those whom you love," Abu Dhar said, "Indeed, I love Allah and His Messenger." So the Prophet ﷺ said again, you will be with those whom you love." And Abu Dhar repeated again, "I love Allah and His Messenger." And the Prophet, just to make sure, to emphasize, and the Prophet ﷺ repeated again, "You will be with those whom you love." Indeed, our deeds can never compare to the deeds of the companions, let alone the deeds of the Prophet and the Prophet ﷺ. Yet, we hope that by Allah's mercy, we would be with them on the day of judgment because of our love for them, for the Prophet ﷺ and for his companions, even though our deeds are not like their deeds. أقول هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. Bismillah wa salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Indeed, it is easy to say the words, "I love the Prophet ﷺ," but it is not true, it is not sincere. The love isn't true love for the Prophet unless it translates into action, into following the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and abiding by his commandments. Allah says in the Quran, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ. Say, O Muhammad, tell the people, if you truly love Allah, then follow me, follow the Prophet. How many people claim that they love God? Many non-Muslims claim that they love God. Allah is saying, if you truly love Allah, then follow the Prophet ﷺ, and Allah will love you in return. For indeed, it is not what is significant. Loving Allah is important, yet what is more significant than that is having Allah love you as well. And in many verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, obey Allah and obey His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And whoever obeys the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and in other verses Allah says, whoever obeys the Messenger, then he has obeyed Allah. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, whoever obeyed me, he has obeyed Allah. And whoever disobeyed me, he has disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because everything the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has commanded us to do is revelation from Allah. When Allah revealed the verse in the Quran saying, O you who believe, do not raise your voices above the voice of the Prophet ﷺ. And towards the end of the verse, he says, lest your deeds are nullified without you even knowing, without you even realizing it. When that verse was revealed, one of the companions, Thabit bin Qais, he was so afraid, he had a loud voice, and he was so afraid that this verse was revealed because of him. And so he sat at home and did not go to the gathering of the Prophet ﷺ. He sat at home crying and so distressed and sad. He didn't want to be near the Prophet ﷺ, lest the Prophet ﷺ speaks, and he speaks and his voice is louder than the voice of the Prophet ﷺ, and so his deeds are nullified without him even realizing it. He stayed at home until later on the Prophet ﷺ asked about him, and he told him, he gave him that tiding of Jannah, and he told him that the verse was revealed about you. But the point of the story, for us to realize, if the companion was so distressed and started crying and stayed at home so that he just doesn't lift his voice above the Prophet ﷺ's voice, and his deeds aren't nullified. How often does an issue come up and we automatically say our opinion about it without even seeing what the Prophet ﷺ has to say about it first? If the Prophet ﷺ has to say something about it, then we should make sure whatever we say is in accordance with what the Prophet ﷺ is saying. We should not oppose the Prophet ﷺ. If we have an authentic hadith about something, we should not oppose what the Prophet ﷺ is saying. Especially about things regarding our deen, our religion. If you like chocolate or vanilla, that's a different story. You can say I like chocolate or I like vanilla, but with matters regarding our deen, don't speak. Don't open your mouth and speak, lest you are expressing your own opinion, which is contradictory without knowledge, which is contradictory to what the Prophet ﷺ had said, and your deeds might be nullified. To give you just a few quick examples of how the companions, their love for the Prophet ﷺ translated into action. How true love really expressed itself in their actions. The Prophet ﷺ, once there was, as we all know, that gold and silk are forbidden for men, yet they are permissible for women. Once a Muslim man, that's not Prophet ﷺ, was wearing a golden ring, a ring made out of gold. Prophet ﷺ came to him, he took the ring out of his finger and he threw it on the ground. He said, why would one of you take a coal made out of fire and hold it in his hand? He compared doing this to that. So after that's the only thing that Prophet ﷺ did and said, and then he left. After he left, some of the people who were around, they told that man, they told him, take your ring and benefit from it. Prophet ﷺ, didn't want you to wear it, but take it. You can tell it, give it to one of your female relatives. Benefit from it. There's no need to pick it up. Take it. It's your belonging. You bought it. He said, no, by Allah, I will not pick it up after the Prophet ﷺ has threw it. Such was their belief. And once there was a man walking, the Prophet ﷺ went after him. The Prophet ﷺ followed him and he even started running to catch up to him. And when he caught up to him, he told him, lift your lower garment, because it was dragging. He told him, lift your lower garment. The narrator of that incident said, that man was not seen until he died. Was always seen with his lower garment at the middle of his shin until he died. The Prophet ﷺ commanded him just once, and he complied until he passed away. What is the difference between us seeing the Prophet ﷺ and getting a command directly from him, or getting that command in one of his authentic ahadith? There is no difference. What would any one of us do if the Prophet ﷺ commanded you directly and told you to do something? I'm sure we'd all comply and do what the Prophet ﷺ is telling us to do. Then why don't we respect his statements and his authentic ahadith the same way? Why don't we follow them and abide by their commandments, by his commandments, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? As the Prophet ﷺ says, "Man raghiba an sunnati falaysa minni." Whoever does not want to follow my sunnah, then he is not from me. And as a side note, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Al-Bakhil," the stingy one, is the one whom I mentioned in front of him, and he does not send peace and blessings upon me. So whenever the Prophet ﷺ is mentioned in front of you, or you hear his name being mentioned, say, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, or may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. And I will end my khutbah with one incident that shows us indeed why Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him and with all the companions, indeed was the best of people after the prophets. And it shows you how much Abu Bakr's love for the Prophet ﷺ was. The 10th year after Hijrah, the year of the conquest of Mecca, when the Muslims entered Mecca again, Abu Bakr's father came to accept Islam. Abu Bakr's father hasn't accepted Islam for all these years. And imagine, at the 10th year after Hijrah, Abu Bakr's father coming to accept Islam. Imagine the happiness of Abu Bakr, his father finally accepting Islam. When Abu Bakr's father comes to the Prophet ﷺ, he puts his hand forward to shake the Prophet ﷺ's hand and give him the pledge and accept Islam. Abu Bakr started crying. Abu Bakr started crying. And we all probably thinking he's crying out of happiness because his father is finally accepting Islam, or some other reason. But when the Prophet ﷺ asked Abu Bakr, he said, Abu Bakr, why are you crying? He said, by Allah, I would have wished it would have been more beloved to me that this hand is your uncle's hand, Abu Talib's hand, who had died, Abu Talib, the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ, who had died a disbeliever. Abu Bakr said, it would have been more beloved to me. I would have been happier if this hand was not my father's hand, but rather your uncle's hand coming to accept Islam. This way you would be pleased and happy. You see, Abu Bakr's love for the Prophet ﷺ was indeed, he loved him more than he loved himself and than his own father. That is true love. I ask Allah to put the love of the Prophet ﷺ in our hearts and to make us true followers of the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ.